Hello and welcome to the OverShadow ShadowCast. Your hostess this week, it's Abigail. It's little old me again, by myself. This week it's going to work a little differently because it was apparently known to everybody apart from Tommy that Storm Dennis was going to affect travel this week. So unfortunately we are not going to be able to be in the same location to record this. Okay. And maybe from here on out he would adhere to the weather. This week, what I have been playing, I have been playing actually a fairly old game. It's Alice Madness Returns, and I keep wanting to call it the Madness Returns, the return of madness. I think that's just my dyslexia playing up with me. So I bought this 360 version because it was on sale, and I've got to say I've actually been enjoying it so far. There's been a few aspects of it which have been a little bit annoying, but the reason I decided to go back and kind of play this pretty old game is because I had seen a lot of people on YouTube play it, and it aesthetically it just looked like right up my alley. I do like an English accent, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy the story of Alice anyway, and I like it when people adapt story to this degree where it is just totally bonkers. It is taking that aspect of Alice which was always just crazy and kooky and just elaborating on it quite a bit. It's very, very dark. It's very moody. Alice has got this amazing, very iconic blue dress, and it's just I like it because obviously a lot of people, when they imagine Alice, that she's like about 10 years old, flowing blonde hair and this like little poofy dress. Mainly it's that image of Alice in Wonderland from the Disney movie, the good one. Let's not think of the Tim Burton one. I like Tim Burton, but I choose to ignore certain movies that he's made. But this is very different. Alice has got very, she's older. I can't remember how old she's supposed to be, but teenage. She's got short black hair, very thin, kind of, and she's like in an orphanage. And it goes between what we presume is reality and what we presume is Alice's madness. I think the idea of Wonderland in this game is that she is actually mad. Well, not so much mad, but this is her delusions taking over. It's really interesting to see the kind of elements that you have to play in this. If you know the story of Alice in Wonderland, there's a thing called a Vorpal sword. In this, it's a Vorpal blade, which basically just looks like a kitchen knife, and that's your main weapon until you get something called a something that's alien, a pepper grinder. I don't know why I said it like that. It's a pepper grinder. That is quite difficult to maneuver because it's a bit like, you know, if you ever play a game and you're looking through like a scope and you're aiming the scope just about everywhere apart from where you want to aim it, it's got the same kind of principle, same kind of elements to it. So that's a bit annoying because it takes you forever to actually aim at this thing, and normally it's an enemy to kill it. The enemies are very, very interesting. There's like a fly that looks a bit like a screwdriver. It's really cool. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's interesting because of this how the narrative of the game works, of the story works. Because, like I say, sometimes you're in reality, which is incredibly bleak and drab, and then sometimes you're in Wonderland, which is very vibrant and beautiful. Apart from the really scary stuff which happens later on in the game, I know what happens at the end because I've seen it, but it's just a lot of fun actually playing through this. So that is what I have been playing. So like I said, that's basically what all I've been playing. I've not gone back to Halo yet because I just wanted to take a little bit of a break from it. So I'm going to move on to the stories I like to talk about. So the first one is regarding Disney at the DICE Annual Summit, which is a summit for video game executives, which is held in Nevada every single year. So at the DICE Summit this year, Disney said that they are changing the focus of how they are making their games. So Sean Shopto. My dyslexic brain is going on overdrive today. The senior VP of Games and Interactive Experiences at Disney, openly on stage invited all attending game developers to come, in quotes, come and play, with the extensive catalogue of Disney property. Disney pulled away from in-house game development, which means that basically Disney kind of make their own games. They stepped away from that with their last title being Disney Infinity, which was actually discontinued in 2016. The invite is most likely due to the success of Marvel's Spider-Man, which was made by Insomniac, and it actually sold over 13 million copies and was pretty much declared the best game of 2019. I believe that was a PS4 exclusive, which kind of what you wonder is possibly that kind of going away that Disney are going to go with just solely being exclusive to one console. Or are they going to kind of just go with anybody? So yeah, it was basically declared the best game of 2019. I remember it had rave reviews. Everybody was loving it. Everybody was playing it. If you went on to YouTube, pretty much all the top gamers were playing this game because everybody said it was amazing. I think this also comes off the back of the success of the Spider-Man Into the Spideyverse movie. That was absolutely phenomenal. If you have never seen Spider-Man Into the Spideyverse, I highly recommend it. It's an animated movie, but oh my goodness, it tugs at the heartstrings. It is just phenomenal. I wasn't too keen on the animation style. When I saw the trailer, I thought, oh, probably not for me. I'm not too au fait with that style. However, I like that. I should say I'm not too keen on. I don't really like the aesthetic of that style. However, once the story kicked in, I was lost. I didn't mind what the style was or anything like that. I kind of had the same feeling when I watched Rick and Morty. The style was a little weird, but as soon as you get into the story, you kind of just lose yourself. It's really great. Sorry, that's my film side coming out there. I apologize if you're purely here to listen to Tommy rant about games and EA and Bethesda. So I also saw about EA. They're also saying that this direction that they're going in is likely to also due to the success of Star Wars Fallen Order, which was made by EA, and it's one of the most recent ones, and it's expected to sell between 6 and 8 million copies before the 31st of March 2020 this year. 2019 was also when there was a merger with 20th Century Fox by Disney. Now this is interesting, and I'll tell you why right now. Because Avatar was one of the titles that they were able to get with this merger. So, I don't know if there was ever an Avatar game. I'm not gonna lie. Didn't look that up. But wouldn't that be really cool to see that kind of world be seen into a game and what you could do with it, what you could play as, how this would actually... how this would work, basically. That's what I'm trying to go with. How this would work. It would be fascinating to see the world of Avatar, which, I'm not going to lie, the story was but the visuals were genuinely very beautiful. It was a very pleasing movie to watch in terms of what it looked like. However, let's all face it, it is the story of Pocahontas. I'm watching Pocahontas, but it's aliens on another planet. It's big, tall, blue aliens instead of Pocahontas. That is basically what that is. And everybody else said that. That's not just I'm not just not just passed on or some great wisdom. Everybody knew it at the time. So basically, this is actually quite interesting because I want to know if Disney will just be pretty much working with any other developers. Are certain games going to become very exclusive to different kinds of consoles? Would Disney actually end up just working with a certain group of developers and then all their games being available for all different kinds of consoles? It's an interesting way, because normally Disney, I think, when they make a property, they like to keep it. They like to be the ones responsible for it. They kind of protect it. So is this meaning that they're trying to be a bit more creative, trying to release a little bit? Because I think that Disney kind of are losing, in my opinion, Disney are starting to lose a bit of creativeness, because from a film perspective, they are remaking a lot of things. I just found out the other day that they are remaking another Cinderella when they just remade Cinderella a few years ago. Cinderella a few years ago. So there's going to be yet another Cinderella coming out. So is this sort of like their company going, well, maybe we need to reflect on what's going on with us in a company, so we're going to pass it on to somebody else to see if they can do anything with it. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know that much about Disney games that Disney made in-house. Literally, the only games I ever remember were going onto the Disney website, the Disney Games website, and playing like really, really bad games based on their television shows like Recess and Lilo and Stitch and all this kind of stuff. That was how to kill an afternoon. Just sit there playing Recess, that cafeteria game where you have to make the orders. Just about every game has one of those kind of elements where you're given orders and you need to keep up with it to be able to make money. That was one of the games. It would be interesting to see a lot of their properties go into the creative hands of a lot of developers and see what would happen there. I've just been rambling. I apologize for that. See, this is what happens. I just ramble. I need Tommy here just to kind of like reel me in. Just reel me in. But then again, yet like I said before, weather, he did not know. Trains need some sort of leeway with the weather to be able to work. So the last story I have for you is about, and I apologize sincerely if I mispronounce any of this, NVIDIA GeForce Now. So NVIDIA GeForce Now, which is a PC game streaming service, has been forced to remove all of its Activision Blizzard games from its service. So this is the statement from GeForce. It sounds a little weird, I'm not gonna lie, but work with me here, people. There's just you and me. There's no one else. As we take GeForce Now to the next step in its evolution, we've worked with publishers to onboard a robust catalogue of your PC. This means continuously adding new games and on occasion having to remove games. Similar to other digital service providers. I think that's basically saying that well, I'll finish the quote first. Per their request, please be advised Activision Blizzard games will be removed from the service. While unfortunate, we hope to work together with Activision Blizzard to re-enable these games and more in the future. Now, what they're talking about is when they have to remove the games. If you have Game Pass on Xbox, they remove games. And I think, as Tommy said in the past, normally when they remove a game, they put it on for sale. On a sale, like 25% off or 50% off or something to that effect. Now that would normally be one or two games, but this is pretty much an entire company's catalog that they have had to remove from their own catalog. Now, Activision Blizzard have given no reason for the forceful removal. However, Activision Blizzard did sign an exclusive deal with Google in January 2020, that's this year. This is still odd, as Activision Blizzard did not have their games for the... This is still odd, as Activision Blizzard did actually have their games for the beta testing of NVIDIA GeForce Now. So the real question is why have your games on a beta test if the actual website won't be allowed to have yours? So the fact that they seem to have signed an exclusivity deal with Google, I would say is probably why they were removed. They've removed themselves from GeForce, why they've asked to be removed anyway, which I think is kind of dirty pool, because if you allow your games to be there for the beta testing, you should allow your games to be there for the actual thing, for the release of it, because obviously if you have it for the beta, you expect it to be there for when it goes live fully. So I think that's kind of underhanded a little bit of Activision Blizzard. But it's interesting the fact that Activision Blizzard have signed an exclusivity deal with, I said it right the first time, deal with Google, because I think what I was saying either the last week or the week before, that somebody from Microsoft was saying that Google and Amazon are going to be their main rivals. He saw them as the main rivals for the future. So that's interesting. So that's really all I have to say on that. I won't ramble, I promise. I promise I shall not ramble. So that's all I have for you this week. And what I'm going to say is thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed what you've been hearing me ramble again, then you can subscribe to our channel. You can hit that notification bell for when we upload. I don't know what's going to be happening next week. We may or may not be able to record together, me and Tommy, so we shall see about that. You can leave us a comment. That'd be brilliant. Thank you very much. All comments welcome. We shall sieve out the ones which we deem to be inappropriate, and we shall not read those out to you. You can email us at overshadow.shadowcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook at overshadow.shadowcast. That's wrong. Or you can find us on Facebook at overshadow.shadowcast. So all that's left for me to say there is thank you very much for listening. And I hope you join us next week. Okay, bye.